Cerebral Cinema and the WON Radio Network present to you Superwoman. Yes, Superwoman, the dynamic crime fighter. Superwoman, the champion of justice. Superwoman, who in truth is mild-mannered Chicago news reporter Emily Nesbacher. Our story begins on the desolate landscape of the moon. Chicago news reporter Emily Nesbacher, aka Superwoman, has flown from the planet Earth to the lunar satellite in just over 9 hours. After landing, Superwoman stands still for a few moments to regain her lost energy. She puts her head back and breathes in the non-existent air. Her long gray cape sticks out from her back, stiff and lifeless in the moon's atmosphere. Superwoman shivers a bit and wonders how anyone could live on this cold lump of rock. Of course, the person Superwoman has come to meet has no choice in the matter. Superwoman shivers once more, then continues her journey on foot. To cover up her deadly silent surroundings, Superwoman imagines the sound of her footsteps on the lunar surface. It helps a little, so she begins whistling a soft, soothing tune in her mind. Superwoman stops at the edge of a giant hole. She looks down into the pit, which is covered with a large metal grate. Inside the hole is the homey abode of King Cosmos, a criminal mastermind from the year 2525. Superwoman steps onto the grating. Directly below her is Cosmos himself. Looking down, Superwoman is only able to see the prisoner's big, bulbous head. The rest of his tiny body is hidden under his exceedingly evolved cranium. Without even looking up, Cosmos becomes aware of Superwoman's presence. Through the power of telepathy, the super genius begins a conversation with his visitor.
Unbelievable. I have a caller from Earth at last, and it is none other than the mighty Madame Superwoman. I appreciate 21st century America sending its most advanced human being to converse with me. No other denizen of your era would pique my interest long enough to be awarded a single sentence.
You flatter me, Your Majesty. I am but a humble cave dweller no less primitive than the average Neanderthal of the social media generation.
Yes, you are crude and dim, and your self-deprecating attitude has already lost my interest. Therefore, you can now leave.
I'm not leaving until you tell me how to send you back to the future. Earth can no longer afford to keep you in this high-priced dungeon.
Did you know there are more people with a supreme intellect living in 2525 than there are people of any kind living in 2020?
Goody. That gives me 505 years to read and study. So when 2025 comes around, I won't feel like a complete dimwit.
My point is, a lot of people live in 2525. How do you distinguish yourself in a population of people who can all replicate subatomic fusion progression on a level of quantum conjectural corrosion?
I can type 600 words per minute.
The 26th century has no need for another super genius.
Neither does the 21st century. One is all we need. I don't know who it is. They're probably living in a padded room right now. The rest of us get by on pure, unfiltered, raw emotion.
Cosmos finally looks up at Superwoman. He grins at her with his odd little face that is grotesquely stretched out over his large head. The eerie paleness of his skin complement the wickedness of his eyes. Superwoman wants to look away, but holds her gaze with a strong determination, knowing if she ever let meekness drive her actions, she'd give up crime fighting altogether.
I hope you realize your army did not kill my robot. When they captured me, I shut it down with telepathy.
That mechanical monster is being heavily guarded in a top-secret facility. It's harmless enough now.
It is the mindset of a backward society that denies the threat of a giant killer robot. I can start it back up whenever I choose.
What good would that do at 238,900 miles away?
Plenty. I could have it abduct your entire government leadership and hold them ransom until my release. And with you here at 238,900 miles away, I've picked this exact moment as the perfect time to do so.
Superwoman's eyes widen in terror as she is hit with the understanding of her arrogant mistake. She crouches down, gathering momentum to propel herself back toward the Earth at top speed. Superwoman takes off and shoots through space in a flash. At this accelerated rate, it'll still take her hours to return to her home planet. By that time, Cosmos' giant robot will have fulfilled its master's evil plan. After entering the Earth's atmosphere, Superwoman heads directly for Washington, D.C., hoping that at the very least the Secretary of Agriculture is still safely off on vacation. If so, they would now be the highest-ranking official in the United States. In the distance, the massive silhouette of Cosmos' giant robot can be seen as the morning sun rises on the horizon of the U.S. Capitol. With profound relief, Superwoman sees a group of superheroes fighting the robot. She recognizes them as the Inevitables, an infamous team of crime fighters who work for the government. Not the most popular band of costume do-gooders among the general public, they nevertheless usually finish a job. Among them is IRS Icarus, sworn protector of the United States revenue, flying high and mighty as usual. Superwoman smirks at seeing IRS Icarus.
What's the worst he can do to the robot? Give him an audit?
Superwoman then sees Baton Betsy, a jaunty flag-waving heroine with plenty of high-tech ammo at her disposal, plus a jetpack. Flying beside Betsy is the returning Revere, who rides atop a winged horse. His main job is to warn his fellow Inevitables of any impending danger right before it strikes. Superwoman also sees a dozen more members of the Inevitables whose names she cannot recall. Baton Betsy gives Superwoman a thumbs up when she sees her join the battle. Superwoman returns the gesture, then goes to work. She flies into the robot's face with brute force. The robot stammers from the impact, but quickly regains its footing. It swats at Superwoman with both hands. Superwoman dodges the robotic hands as best she can, until one of them hits its mark and sends her through the dome of the Capitol building. Superwoman shakes it off and returns to the fight. She punches the robot in the face repeatedly. Baton Betsy cheers at Superwoman's effort while blasting the robot in the gut with exploding rockets and fireworks. On the ground is the Inevitable's least effective member, the Picketer, holding up a sign that reads, "Down with the mechanical bullies," and yelling with great fervor. The robot merely ignores the Picketer's assault and focuses on the others attacking it. Superwoman kicks the robot in the jaw, causing more damage than anything else she's attempted so far. She repeats the action. The robot loses balance and falls to the ground. The other Inevitables jump onto the fallen robot and begin hopping up and down without mercy, denting the robot's body considerably. The robot screams out in frustration. Superwoman takes this opportunity to fly into the robot's mouth and up to its brain. This is where Superwoman does the most damage. She strikes the artificial brain. Bolts of electricity surge through Superwoman's body. She cries out in pain before falling unconscious. Superwoman awakens in a dark, shadow-infested alleyway between two tall red brick buildings. She stumbles to her feet, feeling groggy in the head. Superwoman turns toward the direction of the hiss. She is shocked to see 9 separate versions of Catwoman spread throughout the alley. One of them approaches her on all fours, looks up, and hisses.
Selina?
Meow.
There's 9 of you?
Selina gave up the ghost 9 times. We are them, Selina's ghosts. Meow.
Last I heard, Selina was marrying a prince.
Her cat lives are gone, so she lives her 10th life, that of a normal, unlawfully wealthy woman.
I see. Kinda. Why am I here?
You're dead. No more Superwoman. Meow.
Superwoman quickly checks her pulse and is stunned to discover nothing. Tears come to her eyes. She can't believe it. How often had she come in close contact with death and escaped?
I don't get 9 lives?
Nope, only 1. Being super isn't as good as being a cat, I guess.
You're as dead as I am. Well, Selena is still alive. That's justice for you. Spend a life fighting crime and you end up worse off than someone who spent 9 lives committing it.
Superwoman wipes away the tears from her eyes and turns away from the ghoulish Catwoman.
Now that I'm dead, I might as well start thinking of myself. The world no longer needs me.
Superwoman attempts to fly away, but is unable to.
Oh, come on! Ghosts can't fly?
Not in limbo. Me, ouch.
With that, Superwoman erupts in anger.
I'm a hero! I deserve to be in heaven!
Oh, poor do-gooder. Maybe you should have done better.
I can do better than spend eternity in this alley.
They let us return to Earth on occasion to visit our loved ones. Or, in my case, not so loved ones.
I'm aware of that. You visited me and killed my canary. As a spirit, how did you do that?
I possessed a real cat. Bernadette was delicious.
Catwoman licks her fingers. Superwoman clenches her fists. She then closes her eyes, counts to 10, and walks away, hoping to never see that shameless bird killer ever again. The alleyway stretches on for miles, nearly causing Superwoman to break down and give up all hope. After what seems like forever, a bright light appears in the distance. Upon seeing it, Superwoman runs toward it. She arrives at the light but has to shield her eyes from its luminescence. She is about to step forward when 2 shadowy hands grasp her wrists and yank her back. She trips and falls into shadows. The shadows increase rapidly as Superwoman continues to fall. Superwoman lands on a soft, comfy carpet. She sits up and takes in her surroundings. The room is dark and quiet. A door opens and Superwoman sees a tall, shapely form of a woman in a tight evening gown. The woman enters the room and approaches Superwoman. As the features of the woman are revealed by the scarce amount of light in the room, Superwoman is stricken by her overwhelming beauty. Her dark eyes are surrounded by a pale face, which in turn is surrounded by dark hair. The contrast of black and white tones on the woman is hypnotizing. She looks down at Superwoman with what appears to be genuine concern.
Are you all right?
Superwoman puts a hand against her chest and feels a rapid heartbeat.
I'm alive.
I can see that.
Where am I?
You're in my house.
Who are you?
I am a mystery, a shady lady. That is what you may call me.
Shady Lady?
Yes, I like that.
Then you can call me Superwoman.
I would, but you're not very super anymore. And since your identity isn't a mystery, I'll refer to you by your real name, Emily.
You know me?
I do. When I heard you were in limbo, I immediately sent my shadow to retrieve you. Well now, here you are, living again.
Superwoman looks at Shady Lady with as much skepticism as gratitude.
Thanks.
Please don't thank me. I didn't do it for you. I did it for myself. You are now my slave, bound to my will. Try to fly away or blast me with heat vision, and you will find you are unable to.
Shady Lady chuckles softly. Looking past her beauty, Superwoman sees how evil-looking she is. Superwoman tries to stand but is held down by thick shadows spread across her body.
What do you want with me?
Limbo is a great place to find new thugs for my mob. Lowlifes who have died and left the world behind.
I'm not a lowlife. I'm a superhero.
You were once a supervillain. Why would you be in limbo if you didn't have some leftover wickedness in your heart?
Shady Lady's words affect Superwoman because there is some truth to them. Superwoman often let her pride in being so powerful drive her to have almost villainous intentions. The line she walked between light and dark was at times alarmingly thin.
Yeah, I'm far from perfect, but that's no reason to do a U-turn and head on back to a life of crime.
Ordinarily, yes. But you've just been hijacked by an incurable criminal. And I have a wonderfully nefarious destination in mind for us both.
Pull over, lady. I'd like to get out.
You might want to stick with me. I know my way around this place better than you do.
What place?
Shadowland, the underworld, hell on earth. No one is dead here, yet none of us are counted among the living. Lowlifes, criminals, gangsters, and thugs. And no superheroes allowed.
How did my body even end up here? I left it inside a giant robot's head.
IRS Icarus brought it. He owed me a favor.
I always knew he was a crook.
He does work in Washington.
Well, I don't. I'm not corrupt. I work for the media.
Shady Lady chuckles again.
You work for me now, and you'll do just fine.
Shady Lady winks at Superwoman and turns to leave the room. After a couple of hours, Superwoman dozes off. Superwoman finds herself a fugitive on the run. Dogs are chasing her through a murky, foggy swamp. She is chained to Catwoman, whose feline aroma keeps the dogs hot on their trail. Catwoman trips and sprains her ankle, so Superwoman has to pick her up and carry her.
Gee, with your super strength, I bet I'm light as a kitten.
If I still had super strength, I'd break these chains and leave you behind.
Oh, you're too much of a hero to do that.
Catwoman gives Superwoman a mockingly thankful hug and purrs.
Purr, purr, purr.
Is this really happening, or is it only a dream?
All dreams are real in the Shadowlands. Shady Lady has turned you into a criminal, and those are actual demon dogs chasing us through Hades.
I've done nothing illegal.
Not yet. Time is askew here, and the punishment can precede the crime.
If I had my powers, we'd fly out of here.
You take me with you? My hero. Purr.
Stop that, or I'm feeding you to the dogs.
No, you can't. I have no more lives to give.
Are we dead or alive?
Catwoman puts her ear against Superwoman's chest.
I hear a heartbeat. Whoa, you gotta slow down or you're gonna pop off again.
So you're alive now too?
I live on in your dreams. Thanks, girl.
Then I need to wake up.
Catwoman nods and scratches Superwoman's arm. Superwoman cries out in pain.
Ow! What was that?
I was trying to wake you, but it looks like you're not even asleep. Come to think of it, if you're alive and I'm not, how are you carrying me? And if I'm a phantom, how did I sprain my ankle? And how did my ghostly claws scratch your arm? Superwoman, check to see if I have a heartbeat.
I'm a little busy at the moment.
Catwoman grabs Superwoman by the hair, revolves her head, and forces her ear against her chest.
Hear anything?
Yes, a heartbeat.
Catwoman lets go of Superwoman's hair and throws her arms up in rejoice.
I'm alive! We're both alive! And awake!
Then how are you here? Last I heard, you got married to some prince in Europe.
Oh, he ended up murdering me on our honeymoon.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
Welcome to the life of an outlaw, where not even the laws of nature are on your side. Look at me. I should have been history 9 lives ago.
You've got to be up to your 10th or 11th life by now.
That's right, my last life was my 10th. It ended when that royal creep smothered me with a pillow. Kept purring in my sleep. It drove him crazy. Oh well, I'm here with you and you'll protect me from anything deadly harmful.
I'm not much protection without my powers. Superwoman is dead.
So is Catwoman. We should come up with 2 new identities. How about the Swamp Sisters?
Doesn't sound very appealing.
We're not appealing anymore. We're disgusting hags living in the muck. Our only friends are the swamp critters, the bats, the toads, the snakes, and the gators. They'll protect us from the demon dogs. We hate each other, but are bound together by a common enemy. The world.
Superwoman smiles at her screwy companion, then quickens her pace. The dogs sound like they're gaining on them and will catch up within minutes. Superwoman continues on for a while longer, then stops to catch her breath.
It's no use. We'll never outrun them. I don't even know why we're running, where we're headed, or what we're escaping. Shady Lady put us here for a reason. Maybe to break us down into hardened criminals for her mob. It'll be better to wait to see what happens.
I kind of figured that from the beginning, but didn't mention it because you seem so determined.
Superwoman shakes her head and drops Catwoman in the swamp water. Catwoman splashes about in a frenzy. Superwoman helps her to her feet.
That was rude.
Superwoman faces the sound of the barking dogs and waves her arms in the air.
Over here!
Catwoman steps behind Superwoman for protection.
They sound vicious. I'm scared.
Shady Lady didn't bring us back from the dead just to kill us off again.
Unless she brought us back to kill us off, to bring us back to kill us off, to bring us back, and so on.
Superwoman and Catwoman see the dogs appear in the distance. They are pitch-black mongrels empowered by a hellish fury. The woman's eyes are locked onto the dogs as they approach. Suddenly, Superwoman and Catwoman are engulfed by utter darkness. Yet they can still hear the oncoming dogs. The two ladies scream in horrific anticipation as the monstrous barking overpowers their eardrums. Be sure to tune in next time to hear what happens to Superwoman. Same time, same network. Cerebral Cinema hopes you have enjoyed this movie of the mind.